Thank you for joining me, and I am so happy to be back. I want to do a shout out to, before we start the show, to Claudette Brookins and Haji Tiggs, James Brookins, Tanya Graddick, Yehuda Ambassa, and last but not least, my husband, whom right now I'm going to introduce you to, Charles Stinson. So, this is my husband, Charles Stinson, and
Hey everybody.
today we're going to be talking about marriage. But before we do, I want my husband to tell you a little bit about himself.
Yes, my name is Charles Stinson, and me and Donna, we've been married since 2009. And today I just happened to be off today, and we've been discussing this for a while for me to come on the show so we can talk about our marriage and maybe we could help somebody with theirs. So that's why I'm here today, and thank God for my wife.
And thank God for my angel. So we're gonna start by talking about what it takes even before you get married to be in a marriage, because you have to be very strong-willed to be married. You have to be strong for the simple fact that it's not always all about you. And when a lot of people get into a relationship, is not the same as a marriage. Once you get married, it seems like the devil starts. You start looking at all these idiosyncrasies of the other person, and you feel like I shouldn't have did this. Did I make the right decision? So I'm going to talk to you from a woman's perspective as far as marriage, but right now I'm going to ask my husband as far as the man's perspective. What do you feel a man should do once he's married and he has his bride, and and things may not be going the way that he wants it to go? What do you think he should do in the beginning of the marriage?
Well, I think the first thing he should do is, concentrate on his wife. But for me, I'm gonna just speak for how things started off for me. It was kind of, I know I wanted to get married. I know I love my wife, but for our first couple of years, I think it was just about me adjusting to being married. So a lot of guys, for them, when they first get in, it is just to being married, have somebody there with you. And for me, that's how it was for me, just adjusting to not being by myself. I think the main thing with the guys, they so used to being by themselves that they do everything by themselves, and it was just them. Now they have to worry about them and their wife, so it takes a adjustment. For me, it was a big adjustment at first, but now I've learned a lot how to treat my wife and things that we go through. So it's been a big adjustment, but you can get through it if you just stick with it and you have God in your life, and you'll be able to get through it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, honey. You do mean a lot to me. And, for the women, um, what you need to understand, especially if you have a man that's working, like when me and my husband very first got married, um, I don't think he was able, like, really, we didn't have a honeymoon. So it kind of like, I was like really frustrated about that. But the thing is, I never told him that, and I started taking my frustrations out on him, and he didn't know what was wrong with me, and I didn't. I guess I just felt like I was being selfish. At first, I felt like I was being selfish, but then I started telling myself, well, I'm his wife, and he should have done this, and should have done that. Now, I said that to say this, ladies. Communication is the key. Communication is always the key. Men, men are men, women are women. Men are not into the dainty. Men are not into the can I help you? Especially not my husband. He was a full-fledged bachelor when I met him, and he had his friends. He did his thing. When he met me, things were good, and we got to know each other, and we started getting to know each other. Now, I'm going to tell you ladies this: we really should have waited to have sex, but what I did tell him was we got to wait at least 30 days before we start getting having sex with each other. And this was before we got married. You have to let the man that you're going to be with know that you are valuable to yourself. Because if you don't look at yourself as valuable, they're not going to look at you as being a valuable person. So on that note, I wanted to ask my husband. Like there was times when I wasn't talking to him, and I was crying, and I was just going through so much, and I know he was frustrated and everything. But now that we're learning a little bit more about each other, because in the courtship stage, you're basically getting to know each other, and in the courtship stage, you are. Learning each other's faults and likes and dislikes. So when you go into the marriage, you already know these things are coming. But on the other hand, you never know a person until you live with them. So what I want to ask my husband is, there was times when I wasn't talking to you, you didn't know what was going on, and you would ask me, and I would get upset, and I would walk away. So, knowing that you've been through this now, what would you tell the brothers, as far as a woman that don't want to communicate, don't want to say what's going on with them, you know that you love this person, what would you tell them?
I would tell them just to be patient. Don't jump the gun. Just be patient and listen to her. And like I said, I know we've been through some ups and downs, but then I had to learn my wife went through a lot of stuff, and I know that I had to be patient with her and don't get on her. Just listen to what she has to say and be a comforter to her. It took me a while to learn that, so that's why I'm going to give you guys advice right now. Be patient. Don't get upset with her. Don't just go off on her. Be patient with her. She's been through a lot of stuff. Women go through a lot more stuff than men ever will go through. And that's something that I had to learn. So, men, listen, women go through a lot more stuff than we do. Just be patient with them. And don't get upset with them. Just listen to them and comfort them the best way you can.
Thanks, honey. I appreciate that. Now, for the women, I want you to understand that me and my husband live a Christian life, and we try to live as close to biblical as we can. My husband works, he works every day, he works hard, for me to have the things that not only that I want, that I desire. But I'm going to tell you, some of you women need to stop bashing your husbands when you don't get what you want. There may be times where he may have extra bills to take care of, or he may be even taking care of something for you, and he may not have the money that you desire him to have. We we as married women are not supposed to be in a marriage for the money or have just to find somebody to take care of us. This is a selfless relationship. So when the man goes out and works hard and he's out in the world, when he comes home, that is not the time to start getting down on him, beating him up emotionally, beating him up mentally. And some of you women need to keep your hands to yourselves. Now, when you put your hands on your husband, and I'm the type of person, when somebody does something to me, and when me and my husband used to go through it, I would just go off and cry. But one time, my husband wasn't listening to me. He was in the adjusting phase, and I kind of like grabbed at him. And I'm thankful that my husband had a father figure. And when I grabbed at him, the first thing he said was, "I'm leaving." Now, in my mind, I thought that the marriage was over. So this had been like a year into our relationship. And what he meant was he was leaving to go get air. But in my mind, I felt like the relationship was over. So I'm just trying to let you young women out here know that if a man wants to go and he's heated up, let him go so he can get his mind together. We have to learn as women to step back and give our husbands, give our mates air, just like we would want it. So, what I'm trying to say, women, is just you have to be patient too, because it goes both ways. When you first start out, it's good. The honeymoon is good, and this, that, and the other. But when the honeymoon is over, so to speak, not like the honeymoon, the trip, the honeymoon, like you guys are so much in love, and then life's trials come. Your day-to-day work ethic comes, your day-to-day thought process with things that go on, how you process things outside of the home. Don't bring those things into your sanctuary. Now, me and my husband, we call our home our sanctuary, and we do not let anyone live with us, because this is our sanctuary where we go to uh, be able to be ourselves in front of each other. We are supposed to be one. So, married couples, don't let folks move in with you. That will cause you more pain, more heartache than you can imagine. Now, there was times where I wanted to talk to uh, my husband about certain things, and he just was not in the mood. And and I still tried to force the issue. And I want my husband to tell you ladies how he felt when I got down on him concerning things that, just say he was at work all day. Before he went to work, my husband is a very busy man. Before he went to work, his father passed. He has a mother that he goes, he takes care of, he looks out for, he makes sure that she has everything that she needs. And I'm for sidebar, women, if you have a husband that takes care of his mother, jealousy is not the answer. If he takes care of his mother, he'll take care of you just that much more. So I want my husband to tell you women how it is when somebody is getting down on you and you wasn't prepared for that.
Yes, it definitely doesn't feel good, especially from a man's perspective. If, like I said, if your man is working and he's taking care of his mom and he's taking care of you, that doesn't mean he's out doing anything wrong. He's just trying to make sure that his mom is taken care of and you, his wife, is taken care of. I tell my wife this all the time. She's my number one priority. I work and do everything because of her. Because if it wasn't for her, ain't no telling what I'd be doing right about now. So I'm so blessed to have her in my life. And ladies, just treat your man with some respect, and then you'll get respect from him. Like I say, every time a man goes out and he's working and taking care of you, doesn't mean he's doing anything wrong. And it's very hurtful for him. He loves his wife to be in his corner. He loves to come home to see his wife happy to see him, and he can hug her and kiss her, and they can talk and laugh and joke. So make sure when your husband or your man is doing the right thing and doing what he's be helpful to him, love him, encourage him. He wants that from you.
Mm.
He's happy to come home to a happy house. Don't no man want to come home and he see his wife. Oh boy, here we go. What I'm gonna have to go through now. He wants to come home and see his wife happy to see him because he's happy to come. I know I'll be happy to come home after I get off work. I can't wait to get off work and come home because I love my wife. I love my cat. That's what I look forward to every single day. So, ladies, just be when your man comes home from a hard day work, just be glad to see him. He'll be so happy to come home, and you'll have a better relationship.
You sure
Yeah.
will, because I had to learn that the hard way too. And then not only that, when I first started this show, I told you a little bit about myself, and I was telling you how I had been molested as a little child. I had been raped in my formative years, in my formative years, going into my teenage years, and even as an older woman. And when you get into a relationship with a person and you're bringing all that baggage, you have to learn how to put these things in perspective. Because I was hurt so many times, and I thank the Lord that you have to have God in your relationship. And I didn't know how to express to my husband the bad things that happened to me. But as time went on, I started letting him know about things that had happened to me. And as I told him the things that was going on with me, then he was like, "Oh, okay, I see why she act like that, or I see why she, do a certain thing, or I see why she has a certain routine, or she does a certain thing at a certain time." We as women, especially when we go through so much, we don't, and we get married, we really don't want to tell our mate all of these bad things that we've been through. And another thing I want to tell you women is, do not compare your husband to past men that you've been with, because it's very disrespectful and it's very hurtful. No man wants you to sit up and tell you and hear you talk about when you was with somebody else and how good they treated. If they've treated you that good, you wouldn't be with the man you're talking to about another man. That's a surefire way to make your husband fall out of love with you. So we have to be mindful that the man that you with that you married, they had a life too. And you wouldn't want him sitting up talking about, yeah, when I was with this girl, we did this, and when I was with that girl, I did. Now, when me and my husband first got together, like he said, it was an adjusting period for him. And I used to ask him if this, if that, and I used to make these scenarios about wonder if this and wonder if that. And I'm gonna let my husband talk to you about um, my little craziness with this scenario move.
Now, at first, I used to listen to her scenarios and stuff, and at first they were good, but then she would start making scenarios that I knew was gonna cause some drama if I answered it a certain way, and that's exactly what happened. So I told her, "Look, we need to quit these scenarios from now on," because she would say something, and then
For example,
for example, she would say if something was to happen between me and another woman, would I tell her? Then if I would say no, she wouldn't believe me. But if I said yes, she would go off on that too. So it was a situation where the scenario that she chose, it was gonna be a wrong answer either way it went. So I say, look, we need to stop with the scenarios before, because we used to get in some arguments over them. So I say, look, we need to start with the scenarios. So that's what she did. She started with the scenarios, and then everything started to work out. I will say this though, when we first got married, my father had passed away, so I was going through a lot, and I really didn't know how to deal with my dad passing and being married at the same time. So I will say this, fellas, when your wife tell you that you need to go see somebody for help, go see somebody, because that really helped me out. I was able to see a grief counselor, and it really helped me out about my father passing away. So, fellas, listen to me. There's nothing wrong with going to see somebody when you have problems that you can't discuss with your wife with. Go see them, talk to them. It'll make you feel better. It made me feel a whole lot better because I didn't know how I was feeling, didn't know what to do. My wife just kept suggesting it to me, and finally I did it, and it made me feel a lot better. So, fellas, when you have issues and your wife say you need to go see somebody, talk it out. It'll make you feel a lot better.
yeah, and not only that, women, when you see that your husband is going through something, and what it was for me, and it really started with the scenarios. What it was for me is the scenarios started getting more and more crazier. And no matter what he said, it was going to be an argument. So I was basically subconsciously setting my marriage up for failure. I knew my husband's father had passed. They were very, very close. He was a good man, and he taught his son some very, very good ethical things like working, paying bills, taking care of your household. Before I go any further, they're going to put the phone lines up, and if you want to call in while we're talking, we are not counselors. We are not experts in this field. We're just telling you the things that went on, that's going on in our lives, and how when we first got together, things were really hard, but that's because we both were going through things. Even me, I had to go see a counselor. Actually, I was seeing a counselor even before we got married. So I knew that it was a good thing. When you see that your husband is hurting, that is not the time to take advantage of a person who loves you. What you need to do is encourage them. You pray for them. Now, there were some traits that my husband had when we first got married that I did not like. You women, you cannot change No man. The only thing that you can do is pray for them. So what I started doing is speaking good things into my husband's life. You're a beautiful person. I love you so much. You take care of us so well. If it wasn't for you, this house would fall. You the man of my dreams. You the man of my life. You are the man. You will catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So when you see your husband going through something, when you see that your husband can't really talk to you, don't feel like he can't talk to you because of somebody else. He won't let me in. Maybe he just can't talk to you at that specific time. But once, I kept telling my husband, I know you're going through a lot. I know, that I've been down on you a lot. And even then, he was being rejecting me. And it was because of the hurt. And then some of the hurt that I put on him by asking him all these strange and crazy and out of the way questions. And once I came to the realization that I could really lose my husband because he was grieving, for one, and then two, I was always on his head about nothing because of the problems that I had with other men, subconsciously, and now I'm finding this out. I felt like he was like every other man. Even though I loved him and I married him, and I know that this was the man that God sent to me, because I didn't go looking for him. He didn't go looking for me, but he found me. And I want him, I want him to tell you guys about when he first met me.
Okay, when I first met her, I was talking to her, but she didn't want to have nothing to do with me until I said, okay, let's go out to eat. So then she said, okay, let's go out to Chili's. So we went out to Chili's and we stayed out there for at least a couple hours. And that's and after ever since then, we've been together ever since. So once I got through to her, and like I said, we've been together ever since. And it's been some ups and downs, and I'm going to say this about us men too. We need to be more respectful for our women. We can't be downgrading our women, calling our women names, and expect them to do stuff for us also. So, man, you got to be able to compliment your wife, be better to your wife, and she will love you the way that you love her. So I've been learning that myself. Like I said, I want to give the men advice too, so you don't have to go through the stuff that we get. That's all we want to do. We just want to give you the stuff that we went through, so you look out for the signs. You be like, okay, this is what I need to do better. I need to pay more attention to my wife, be better to my wife, cause she loves you and she gives you. My wife would do anything for me that I ask. So I know that I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have her in my life, and I will do anything in my power to make her happy. Whatever she asks me to do, I don't hesitate. If she say, Charles, could you do such and such? Okay, I'll try to figure out a way to do it. So, man, we gotta make sure that we figure out a way to keep our wives happy, and I know if we keep them happy, they'll keep us happy also.
Thank you, honey. That was so sweet. I appreciate you so much. Now, on that note, um, when he said that you have to love each other, there has to be a trust there. You have to have a trust there. Without trust and communication, there is no marriage, none whatsoever. So, women, if something is bothering you, um, men are not mind readers. None of us are mind readers. So, we have to keep like our bodies fresh. Some of you women, you get married, you stop taking care of yourself, you gain all this weight because you married. What you did to get him is the same things you need to do to keep him. Now, I know, when you get married and you have children and this, that, and the other, you put on a little bit of weight and this, that, and the other. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these women who find a good man, then let themselves go. Then you get mad when he look the other way. Now, for some of you women that's just so jealous and irate with your husbands out in public, stop it. Stop it. Men have eyes like women have eyes. Whatever cross their path, there can be a beautiful woman, and there's nothing wrong with a husband looking at a beautiful woman. Nothing, nothing at all. Now I can see if he's googling or oogling. That's one thing. Me and my husband's never had that problem. Us being out in public and we seeing other people, seeing other people or anything. We've always been like, and I'll tell him, look, baby, see that dress? Ooh, don't she look good in that dress? Now I want that dress. So sometimes you have to be tactful with certain things that you may want. You may see this woman and yeah, she's beautiful, but she got this bad dress on. You want it, but you so scared to tell your husband to look to where you're just in your mind, you just a ball of confusion. We have eyes to look at beautiful things. So don't get down on your husband. Start, what's the matter with you? Don't talk to me. You want to be with her. Don't do that. You're going to find yourself walking home. Well, we ain't never been through that, thank the Lord, but you're going to find yourself walking home. So, women, when you're out and about, don't get down on him. Don't make him feel like he's doing something wrong because somebody then caught his eye. Just because a person catches your husband's eye don't mean they want him. Now, men are attracted visually. They're stimulated visually. Women are stimulated emotionally. So, wear nice little lingeries for your husband. Run out in the front room when halftime come on and shake your butt bare naked. Hey, you might get you a little something before the game come back on. You got to learn how to reinvent yourself, especially men and women that's been together 20 plus years. We fall into this rut, and then it's like, how did we get to this place? We stopped paying attention to each other. So on that note, I just want my husband to, give a few, we got like a minute left and 30 seconds, tell them, what they should do, to keep their women happy.
Like you say, men, we also have to be spontaneous too. We have to. I know I need to be more spontaneous. So men, just be more spontaneous with your woman. Just love her, cherish her, and comfort her as best as you can. And like I say, just y'all just have to be together. Y'all should be able to. Another thing, y'all should be able to just sit down and just have a conversation without no yelling, without no screaming. When the issue comes up, just say, "Baby, let's sit down and talk." And she could do the same thing. Don't just come in there and rah 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 rah. No, you don't have to do that. Just go in there, sit down, talk, and just have a peaceful conversation. And like I said, y'all should be able to go out in public and enjoy yourself. Like my wife said, we haven't had any problems with that because we respect each other. And that's another thing. We got to respect each other while we're out in public also. And like she said, don't be out there looking and just turning your head and just pay attention to. Because I know when I'm in public, I always pay attention to my wife. We always talk, we always laugh, and we always having a good time. And like she said, we can look at people and just be like, oh, we could just look at people and say, hey, look at such and such over there. We always have a good time when we go out. So that's another thing. Make sure you have fun with your mate. It's not it has to be serious all the time. Just have fun with your mate. Enjoy your mate. That's what they're there for. And like I say, just enjoy your mate.
And on that note, until next time. And speaking of that, next month I'll be on second and third Mondays of the month. And on that note, until next time, stay strong.